Good evening and welcome to the February 2013 edition of Curriculum Connection. I'm Medford's Curriculum Director, Laura Lundy. Tonight, we will focus in on reading support in our district. The International Reading Association, or IRA, has published 6 guidelines for creating the ideal reading response to intervention system in a district. The first guideline is quality classroom instruction, followed by responsive teaching or differentiation, assessment that informs instruction, and collaboration and a systematic approach where everything fits together, and finally, expert teachers. In Medford, we are following these guidelines in multiple ways, starting with strong classroom instruction. If classroom reading instruction is strong, evidence shows that the number of students placed into special education decreases. In order for this to happen, classroom teachers must participate in continuous coaching and professional development. Reading specialist Amy Wildberg, along with other reading interventionists, provide frequent workshops and in-class modeling to help teachers become experts in the area of reading.
I've been going in and coaching. I'm really enjoying that. It's neat that this year some of the teachers are starting to ask me to come in and help them out with the lesson. I need help with story mapping, or I need help with sequence or some part of teaching reading, and so I've been going in and helping with that, and that's something that I would continue on an ongoing basis.
The IRA also states that evidence shows that small group and individualized instruction are also effective in reducing the number of students at risk of becoming classified as learning disabled. This is done in 2 ways in our district. For the past few years, classroom teachers have been implementing small guided reading groups during their reading time, which allows teachers to target specific skills that each student needs to become a better reader. Another way the district provides small group instruction is through our numerous reading programs that students receive in addition to their classroom reading instruction. There are 3 main areas where students struggle with in reading: decoding, which is sounding out the letters, fluency, being able to read smoothly, and comprehension, understanding what you read. The Medford School District uses different programs to target each of these skills.
And Foundations is a phonics-based program, a lot of hands-on, so it's multi-sensory, and we work mostly with decoding, learning the phonics rules, how to figure words out, tricks on how to figure words out.
You go through like all the vowels first, so it's like A, apple, A, and they will repeat it to you, then E, N, A, I, H, O, octopus, then U, bus.
Well, the Wilson Reading Program is a wonderful program set up for kids that are dyslexic or have learning difficulties, or special ed students that just have a difficulty in reading. And so what it does is it breaks down all of these components of the reading program with a very multi-sensory approach, meaning they hear, the auditory, the sight, they touch, and they just learn so many more times with the Wilson program because it's a very repetitive program.
We've been learning how to tap out the words and how we pronounce the words. Makes it easier us to read words better.
Learning like different syllables like vowel consonant E and open syllables.
It really helps you to read better, go through the words over and remember them and how to pronounce them and how to tap them out.
And it'll help you read better. Like if you have a real hard time struggling reading, it'll help you.
Another program called Reading Assistant targets students who struggle with fluency. Students who are not fluent readers often are choppy readers and have a hard time remembering what they've read because it takes too long to get through a sentence. Reading Assistant is available for our students in grades 1 through 12, but is primarily used in grades 2 through 8.
The Reading Assistant is working on the computer. They start with having the story read to them, and then they answer some questions about the story after hearing it once. Then they go on and read the story twice. If they don't make their goal, then they can read it as many times as it takes to make their goal, and then they can take a quiz. And there again, if they don't pass the quiz, they can take the quiz so that they know that they're understanding the story.
4th graders Keisha and Frankie's favorite thing about Reading Assistant are all the stories they get to read.
Well, you actually get to hear some cool books that you haven't actually heard before. Okay. You get to read on computers, and you get to learn about things that you didn't know about.
If a child can read a passage fluently but can't tell you what the passage is about, they struggle with comprehension. The main programs Medford uses for comprehension are Achieve 3000 and Read 180. Both programs are used at the middle school, and Read 180 is also used at the high school. Teacher Rachel Dozalik says there was a need for comprehension programs like Read 180.
We just found a need to help kids that just were struggling so with comprehension. If you ask them to read out loud, they get it. They can decode words, they can read sight words very easily, but they read and read and read and just score so poorly. They just weren't getting it, and they were falling behind in class, and it's very intense. There's quite a bit of repetition in which they're learning how to go back in and reread and redo and just pick up some of the good study habits perhaps too that they might have missed, and just training their brains as to what do I have to do to remember this.
Another comprehension program where Medford students are seeing great success is Achieve 3000. Fifth grader Naki explains the program.
In Achieve, you log in and then you read these stories, and then when you read the story, you gotta understand it, and then you have to do questions, and then when you do your questions, you can see if you get an 88 or 100, which means you probably really understand your story.
In addition to reading interventions, we also have programs that help kids love reading, such as Medford Reads. Reading assistant Nancy Hemmer explains.
The volunteer program is called Medford Reads. It's a program where volunteers from the community come in and share 30 minutes per week, one time, a set 30-minute time, and work with a student who was recommended by their classroom teacher.
In the end, we must ask ourselves, is our reading support helping our kids become better readers? Last year's state reading test scores show the majority of our students improving in reading as they move throughout the grades. We've also seen tremendous personal success stories of students who are in these reading programs.
Classroom, I'm always looking for all children to make gains, and we monitor them in the classroom and through the reading programs. And as we monitored one particular girl, we had noticed that through her kindergarten reading intervention, she received support, double dose foundations. As she entered first grade, she then received our core curriculum in first grade through our reading standards. And then as we were monitoring her this year, if we take a look at this progress chart, she went then as the beginning of the year reader from a level A in kindergarten all the way up now. She's soaring into the 3rd and 4th grade levels. And we feel this is due to the intervention she did receive as a kindergartner to give her the support that she needed, then to support her in the classroom, to give her the vocabulary she needed and experience with different texts and work with comprehension skills.
And I just had 2 or 3 kids graduate, I guess you could say, or I dismissed 2 or 3 kids at about the halfway mark in the year. And so for me, that is a success story. Or seeing a child no longer need my services at the end of the year and they do well the next year. You know, they're meeting their benchmarks, they're doing just fine. To me, that's a success. So
I just had a Wilson graduate at the beginning of this year, and I've got 2 more coming up shortly in probably a month. That's our goal. We want these kids to be successful and graduate out of the Wilson program so they can get back into their regular ed classroom.
Even with all of these success stories, we still have students who are not proficient according to the state reading tests. And now that the state of Wisconsin has moved that bar higher, we're seeing that number rise. Therefore, as a district, we are constantly trying to improve our reading curriculums both in the classroom and in our interventions, because we want all of our students to be able to read and read well. For Curriculum Connection, I'm Laura Lundy.